You discovered things about yourself you never knew, skills and abilities you didn't know that you had. You unlocked your potential and performance, and you understood the power of working as a team.
I woke up one day and decided to change my life.
Here, we don't have disabilities.
The spirit of Invictus is those who overcome and achieve things that they never thought that they would be able to.
Invictus means being together.
Це як символ Invictus непереможний.
Without the Invictus journey, I haven't been here today.
People need to realize that they're not alone, that there is help that is available.
While the Games continue to be the incredible beating heart of our movement, our work is year-round.
It doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop when the competition stops. This is lifelong. It goes round the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Stanishi, and this is our look at the Invictus Games in the rearview mirror through the eyes of Melissa Henderson. Melissa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I followed what happened, watched what was going on, and I'd like to start in the beginning of basically how you got involved, and then we'll talk about the preparation.
Sure. So I volunteer with Team Rubicon. It's a disaster response team. And through some training there, I met a wonderful woman named Kelly. And she did the games in 2017 in Toronto. And she said it was life-changing and we should all sign up for it. So it took a few years because of COVID, but I got accepted into these games in BC. So that's what got me to that decision. And then basically it's been a year of getting ready.
What are some of the things you do to get ready? I'm sure that it's obvious, the physical part, but there must be some emotional and mental part as well.
Yeah, I mean, I focus mainly on the physical part. There's waves. There's days where, you just can't train or you're just not feeling it. And it's try to get through that. And you got through that with the support. So there was 56 competitors and we had a WhatsApp group. And that's where you go and get that support. So we really, I felt very supported in the whole journey. If there was any hiccups, you reach out to people and our coaches. We have social workers as well. Like there's a whole staff of coaches and support staff for us. So anytime when we just weren't feeling it, or, if we came back from, we had 3 training camps all together. And when we came back from those, usually you would feel a little bit of a dip in your motivation just from exhaustion and just mentally. You had to come down from the highs, I guess. So we have that support from our peers to get through it. But yeah, I trained at lunchtime. I would swim. I did physical training just on my own, and sitting volleyball. I joined a group in Aurelia, just regular volleyball, but it would, it kind of transfers over to sitting volleyball. So that's how I prepared myself.
There was not a history for you of being in competitive sport, was there?
Not like professionally. Through school, yes. It was very much, I was in every sport as a growing up, and I love being physical, and I did. And even in the military, I used to weightlift and compete in strongman events. And when I injured my back, I really couldn't do that anymore. And then when I got out of the military, I used to be like a runner. I used to compete a race, and I wasn't able to do that anymore now. So the last few years has been very challenging not only physically, but mentally, not being able to challenge myself. And I've gained a lot of weight, and I just wanted to get back to who I used to be. And training for the Invictus Games has brought that back, brought back that excitement that I can still challenge myself. It might not be running, but there's other sports that I can do that I can still challenge myself and compete in.
So then you had this competitive exercise that you went through, and it was something that, so you did it at that level. So it isn't anything new for you. So you understood, competition and how important that is. What about this competition? What was different about doing this? What did you learn about preparing for something like this?
Yeah, well, the resiliency from all the competitors, like, that were shown, it was just super inspiring to watch everybody come together, super compassionate and kind to one another. It's not like it's competitive, but it isn't. We're still compassionate towards each other. Everybody was celebrated. It didn't matter if you got a medal or not. Like, just sometimes just getting in the pool, for instance, is the goal, and you've already won. So just showing up and together, like, it was so inspiring and moving to watch people that had struggled, like some of my peers and competitors. Like, I know what they've had to overcome to just get in the pool, just get it over, get it done. And to see them do that was super inspiring and motivating.
And part of the journey in going there is, we talk about, the challenges and how the challenges are helping rebuilding yourself emotionally. So I'm gathering that it was helpful in helping you emotionally to, heighten your own confidence in yourself, in your body, which I understand was a challenge.
Yes.
And it's very helpful in that. The challenges, that the opportunity to rise to these challenges, how beneficial, and what have you seen from the preparation part before you went there that was very helpful to you?
Well, it's been a long road in this whole year of ups and downs. And I think I don't know how to say it, put it in words, but just to watch us all overcome, like, like I said before, it's been motivating. It's and we get this energy and we just take it with us. It's been great.
And is there anything else you'd like to add as far as what got you to the point that you were ready to go? You're getting on the bus, you're headed to BC.
Yeah.
Looking back at that moment, because I guess you have that moment where you think about what you've done to get here. Yeah. And now you're going into transition of, oh boy, what am I going to see? What's going to be the experience moving ahead? How did you feel at that moment when you were going from preparation to going there?
For sure. I was nervous, and I think that everybody was nervous. Some were very anxious. And I just think my mindset was like, okay, I've trained all year for this. Now it's go time. Like, I'm not going to get worried until I get there. The first day, it was a bit nerve-wracking, but it became easy. It just all flowed. It was exciting. It was supportive. It wasn't something that I was dreading or super anxious about. I thought I would have been, but when the day came, I wasn't. I was prepared. We go through a lot of briefs during mental health briefs and what to expect. Soldier On did a wonderful job at setting us up for success in that regard. Mentally, we knew what it was going to be like, and it would be a lot. It was a week of like go, go, go. But I think they did a great job at preparing us for that. I really think they did a wonderful job.
Yeah, when you're in the bus headed there, you're looking around, you're with a group of people. The challenges that you all had to get there were a lot of similarities, but I assume there were some differences too on what brought people there. Did you spend any time communicating with people about, about your experience, sort of comparing notes, if you will?
Not really comparing notes. Like, I think it was obvious a lot of the times of how they got there, or maybe I already connected with them on social media, so I already knew part of their stories. And there was a lot of videos from all the different countries of like sharing their stories. So we kind of already knew, but we spent a lot of time on the buses going there and back, wherever, communicating just about who they were, like what they do, what their country, just simple little everyday things. It wasn't necessarily about their injury. That wasn't a focus. Like, we all knew we had things and we were dealing with things, whether it be mental or physical. We just accepted that. Like, that's who we were. And that's, I think, what brought us close together, is because we all knew we were struggling with something and we overcame it together.
Yeah. So you're now, I guess what I'm trying to help people to hear and help you give us the information, you go from the personal experience of preparing to becoming a group, a team together going. And now all of a sudden you find yourselves basically arriving there, and you're with a bunch of people that are fellow Canadians.
Okay.
And then you find yourself in the stadium with the rest of them marching. What did that feel like, and how heavy was the flag at that moment?
That was an incredible experience. Not even when we walked out on the opening ceremonies. We arrived, we were the last country to arrive to the venue, and we backstage, and we ended up marching through all the countries, and the energy through that moment was insane. Everybody was emotional, a lot of high fives, a lot of celebrating, and that was amazing. You just had to be there to fully understand that experience, but it was not something I was expecting to be emotional about, but it was. We looked around and everybody had tears, so it was pretty cool.
So now here you are, and it's coming to you. It's coming to you, the realization that now you're representing your country.
Yes, absolutely.
And that representation, could you see the pride in everybody else's eyes? What were you seeing in other people's faces at that moment?
Yeah, it was anyone, when they see Team Canada, competing in your country is a different experience, I imagine. So like everywhere we were going, people are honking their horns, screaming like, "Go Canada!" Like everywhere you go, we were superstars. So it didn't matter if we won a gold medal or not. We were already superstars. We already won. We were treated like royalty. It was an amazing experience.
So now you're looking around, and the picture grows, the brotherhood, sisterhood, the family kind of experience starts to expand, right? So now you're in there, we're Canada. Now you're mingling with everybody. I assume you had a lot of chance to mingle with a lot of the other athletes from the different countries.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you'll never forget discussing with them that impacted you in your mind?
Well, just when our competitors and families, like we all came together as one, but like we ate our meals together. So at the beginning of the competition, all the countries kind of stayed to their own tables, right? You could see the colors in their uniforms. They all stayed to their own table, but by the end, we were all like intermixed, and it was really cool to see. And the trading of pins and coins, the kids loved it. The kids, they went crazy for that. So did the adults, right? And trading of the uniforms after the closing ceremony, that was really big. Again, we didn't necessarily talk about our struggles. It was more just every day talking about what their country was like or what their experience has been during the games, and just socializing, just meeting people. It was very cool.
Yeah, let's remember that one of the beautiful things that this event offered was the ability of the athletes to bring friends or family with them. Tell me about that.
Oh, it was amazing to have my family watch me compete in the stands, but just be along with me during that experience. It's not very often that, you know, you do a healing retreat or something that your family and friends get to come with you and be along, feel the energy and just heal along with you, you know, because it is a whole family affair kind of thing. And the volunteers were fantastic with the friends and family and us as competitors. One woman, Jackie, she was amazing. My daughter stuck to her like glue. And my daughter, actually, Jackie found out that my daughter left her teddy bear at home and ended up going out and buying one and surprising her with it. Like, the people were so good to us. Like, the level of care, the level of thought that went into all the aspects for the family and friends and as competitors, it was top notch. They did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I was listening very careful to one of your runs, and I heard in the background, Mom.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
good
it was
was
so
that?
good. Yeah, it was so cool. You know, you said that, and I didn't even, when I was watching the video, I had my phone on mute, right? So I couldn't really hear what was going on. And then I think it was you that said that. And I looked back, I'm like, oh, I listened. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. She had the time of her life, honestly. The first night she went up, Prince Harry came out, like Meghan introduced Prince Harry. Like, we had no idea that he was going to be there at the opening, like, dinner. So it was a huge surprise. All the kids were sitting at the front by the stage, and my daughter, just before they're leaving, she runs up there and gives them a Canadian flag. So she got to shake the hands with Prince Harry and Meghan. So she, like, for her, she was like, it was already amazing experience day one. So it just followed throughout the whole experience. She had such a great time.
And it became an experience that she's going to remember for a very long time.
Yeah, very impactful, I think, for her.
But isn't that basically something that you know, I think as a society, we sometimes don't key in on the fact that it's not just about veterans. It's about veterans and their families. And
100%.
And this is an opportunity to positively experience something as lovely as this and as wonderful as this with your family and your family in this positive moment. How much did she? Do you mind my asking how old your daughter is?
She's 11.
Okay,
she's going to be 11 in a few weeks.
I couldn't tell by her saying that's my mom. Anywhere from 5 to 100.
Yeah.
But you know, the experience that she had is something. Is she aware of some of the challenges you have? I only ask because does she really appreciate how positive this experience did it show on her? Did she let you feel that, you know, this is really great, Mom, I'm really happy you're doing this, I'm happy for you type thing?
Yeah, I've kind of sheltered her a lot. Like, she doesn't know everything, right? But right. Because I had her, like, I got out of the military, so she hasn't been around that. Like, she doesn't remember me being in the military or anything like that. So she's been kind of sheltered. Like, she knows mentally and physically, like, I have some injuries that I can't do certain things anymore. And she has seen me this past year really put a lot of effort into it. So she was she did a little interview with ATCO, and in there she says, like, she's so excited to watch me compete because I trained all year for it. So I think she gets that it took a lot for me to get there, and now it's time to, you know, give it all I got and get through it. And I think she sees that there was struggles and that I've overcome, and she sees that I'm more active and I'm becoming more the person I used to be. So I think she got a lot out of it, and just as her own personal experience, but to see me grow over the year, I think she knows.
Yeah, what I'm getting to is less about, you know, the really personal stuff, more about the outward stuff. For example, meeting a challenge, meeting a physical challenge, and then pursuing it and witnessing the hard work required, and then seeing the reward. Because
Exactly.
I know I saw it on television, but still couldn't see your face that well. But
No.
I assume there was a giant smile on your face when you finished the run, because we talked before, you know, and again, to drill down on the challenge, the hard work, and then the realization of, and I think this was an average, I'll say an average factor, a common factor. It was less about winning. It was more about completing, wasn't it?
100%. I never, for the skiing, I never did gates before. I've never done a start before. We never trained for that. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to do any of that. So just getting down the run without falling was my goal. And my daughter, like you heard it in her voice, like she was so proud that I did everything I could to prepare myself for that in what was in my control. And I got down it and it was great.
Okay. We're at that point where you did compete. You know, for the people who just joined us, we talked about the preparation. We talked about the personal challenges that need to be overcome for everybody. They're different. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. One of the biggest reasons why I enjoy the idea of doing this interview is that it helps people to understand that veterans are just like the rest of us, that the challenges that they have may be different, but they're still challenges, and those challenges need to be overcome. And you have a pathway, and hopefully you're sharing with us a pathway to, you know, meeting those challenges and overcoming them. So you're there, you complete. Tell us a little bit about the events that you completed and the ones you didn't complete. Give us a review, as unbiased review as you can give of all the events that you took part in.
Yeah. So my events were Alpine ski and 50-meter freestyle swim and 100-meter freestyle swim and sitting volleyball. The skiing was great. It was a beautiful day in Whistler. The crowd was intense. It was crazy. There was a lot of stress, maybe just because I've never done it before and I didn't really want to do it. And, you know, they ask you at the top, like, are you ready? And in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Like, this is crazy. But I did it. And, you know, you gain that confidence. I wish I could have gone faster. I wish I could have had more experience on the gates. I just felt like I was going way too slow. And I'm like, how can I go faster? And, you know, I just didn't have that skill yet. But I was a beginner before, and if you've skied more than 7 times, you're automatically put into the advanced category. So it was a bit scary at first, but I got there. I felt very comfortable once I got to finish my run. I was like, okay, well, I didn't fall. I got that check in the box. Then I went on to swimming. At this time, you know, it's like halfway through the week. People are sick. We have walking pneumonia, colds, like gastro, like people are sick, everybody. So when I got to the pool, I was already sick. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I just got to try anyways. And, you know, I'll see how I feel after the 50-meter freestyle. And I belly flopped in the 50-meter freestyle, but I still got third in my heat. Overall, I was 10th, but top Canadian for that. So I was happy. It was around 38 and a bit seconds for a 50-meter. And that's kind of goes along with what my time is already. I wanted desperately to get under 38 seconds, but it just wasn't in the cards that day. And I did not do the 100-meter freestyle. I was just gassed. I knew I couldn't do that. Not a chance. So I opted out for that. And then we did sitting volleyball. So sitting volleyball was
before you leave the water. I wanted to ask. So you talked about not having to do the turn in the event.
Yes,
Was
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. I honestly like flip turns, like people that swim, they know like it can make or break your swim. But when you're not doing, because it was a 50-meter pool, usually, your local pool might be 25 meters. So then you'd have to do a flip turn. For me, flip turns, it just disorients me. Like I get water in my ears and I'm all over the place, and it just really slows me down. So you can also do a touch turn. But it was so slow. So taking that out of the equation, I was super excited for, but it is a long way to go. So it's still, with that touch turn, you get to push off. So you get that little more momentum. So usually in a 25-meter pool, your 50-meter freestyle is going to be a bit faster because you get that push off, which 50-meter pool, you just got to go for it. And I think I did the best I could at that time, and I'm very happy with it. We're competing with all kinds of different people that, professional athletes that, like different walks of life as well. Also a lot, usually with swimming competitions, it's age, it's categorized by age. So for this, we were just female and male. So I'm competing with, 20-year-olds versus, somebody that, if I was 75, I would still be competing with 20-year-olds. So for me, it was just do the best I can do, get in there and give it my all. And I really feel I did that day. That day was super special for me. My daughter has been going through a really rough time, and for the past 3 years. So as a family, we were all kind of going through a hard time, and that got resolved that morning before I got in the pool. So there's a picture I'll share with you later of all of us like hugging each other. And so that day I already felt like I won. So I was pretty high, like on a big high that day already. So when I got in the pool, it was like, yeah, okay, check mark. Did what I needed to do. I showed up and I gave it my all. And then we went home and celebrated, back to their hotel and celebrated. And then we went off to sitting volleyball at the end of the week. And that was super fun. We as a team didn't really get to like train together. Like it's hard when you're all across the country. So sitting volleyball to come as a team, we all kind of practice on our own. We didn't know what to expect. And in our first game, our first set against Australia, I actually got the winning point, and Team Canada for the Invictus Games hasn't won a set in a very long time. So it was pretty crazy. Like everybody was super stoked and excited. But we lost. But then we went on to play the UK team, and it was super fun. It was just a great time, and we all intermingled. We got pictures together. We're trading uniforms right there on the court. Like it was pretty fun.
So the experience of actually participating, is there any other information you'd like to share with us? Any thoughts, any feelings you had as far as participating, the actual moment? For example, when you're standing on the top of the hill on your skis and you hear those sounds that are telling you time, now you got to commit, now you're on your way. What was going through your mind when you're looking around and there's all these people help? Like you're not up there by yourself. You're around a bunch of people. And how did that impact you? How did it feel that moment when you know it's coming, that you got to go down? What was going through your mind?
Well, it's scary. It's scary, right? But I just wouldn't allow myself to think like that. It was just like commit, just get it done. It's kind of what I do in those situations. I don't, I'll worry and think about it later, but now's not the time, it's let's get it done. We have something to do. And even if I don't want to do it or I'm nervous, I have to do it. So just get it done. And having all the competitors that are in line going in after you or before, like we're all motivating each other, right? So it doesn't matter what country we had a lot of support up there, and the volunteers again were fantastic at calming us down. We also had dogs there for us to help us, like emotional support dogs, and we're just laying down with them in the snow and like hugging them, and just really super supported. I mean, it was nervous, but I was also like super stoked to do it and get it done and have that experience. Yeah, it was great. It was probably the most motivating time. It was a lot. When I came home, I was a bit exhausted and mentally fatigued. But now I've come out of that and I feel very motivated and excited. And it's been a long time since I've felt excitement again in my life, or hope, or, now I feel like I've overcome this huge thing together, and I have this support now. I have a support system, and now it's like, what do I want to do? What are my goals? Where am I going? I really feel this is the beginning. And there's so many supports out there to help us with like True Patriot Love. They have an Invictus alumni group. So the support and what we're doing is still going on. Like the video you showed, it doesn't just end with the Invictus Games. This is very much the beginning, and we're going to continue on that work. And I think with the support that I have from all the competitors and staff, and I think you're able to do that. When you don't have that support, it's very daunting, right? To try to overcome everything on your own. It's just really scary. So I think it was an incredible experience, like once in a lifetime. I can't like boast it enough. Like I think everybody, either if you're a veteran or a civilian, like volunteer, work it, or if you're a veteran, like apply, like you'll get so much out of it.
Was it not amazing to see how many people it took to help you participate? When you looked around, that when you talk about the volunteers, you've talked about them, and I appreciate that. But the sheer amount of people it took to make each, never mind the whole spectacle, but even every individual, event, every individual athlete, like like I said, when you were standing on the top of the hill and looking around to see what the support group looked like, how proud does that make you feel, and how good does it make you feel that that there's a lot of people out there who care about you and others like you and what you're going through? Absolutely.
The support we had from volunteers and just people in the crowd, they were there to support us. They appreciated our service. They appreciated us and wanted to see us succeed. So it was just so overwhelming to see the support. There were so many volunteers, and they were all fantastic. They cared about you. They didn't get paid to be there. There was no like big perks to being there for them. Like, I mean, sure, there was probably, you get to maybe see the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies and stuff, but they really showed up and helped us. And we felt like superstars. It was crazy. I've never had been treated so well in my life. And it really makes you feel good to feel supported, and they were cheering for you every step you made. It didn't matter what you were doing. They were cheering for you, and they were supporting you throughout the whole process.
Speak to me about the venues that you participated in. What were your feelings when you were using these venues? What did you think of the venues?
Oh, they're fantastic. Like state of the art, like they're just so beautiful and professional. Here we are participating in like professional gyms and pool. Like for me, like, wow, it was, and the crowds, it was intense. But again, I was so focused that I just tuned that out and did what I need to do. But, sitting watching like wheelchair basketball or wheelchair rugby, and the crowds were so intense. Even for volleyball, it was intense. Like, but to sit there as to cheer on my teammates, it was so cool. Like the energy was really high, and
did you look in amazement and wonder to yourself and say, in 2010 there were people here that we're the best in the world using these same venues.
100%. Yeah, like that's it. And same with my partner, like walking in, like he felt the same thing, you know, like there's professional athletes that are in these buildings, and here we get to experience that. And walking into BC Place, like it was the same thing. Like we're walking in this huge arena, you know, like all of the stands, and it's full of people. Like, and it was surreal. It really was. Like
I
walking
had my
in.
first visit there in November, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful stadium. It's not new, but it's a beautiful stadium, and
Yeah.
a great place to hold something like this. BC's a beautiful. Were you ever in BC before?
No,
So that must have
not
been
there.
impressive.
Not in Vancouver. Yeah. Yeah, we were there for a training, the third training camp, but I never been there per se. Yeah.
So here you are now. You participated. You did the best you could under all the events. Looking back, was there a favorite event that you participated in?
Skiing and swimming are my favorites, probably, just because I'm in the competitive nature of it. I feel I can do more with skiing, and I think that's something I'm going to pursue even more. I've been in contact with a few trainers, so I think that's maybe racing is in my future. So I'm interested in pursuing that. I'm still going to swim and try to get my times even better, and probably compete in swimming as well in the future. So
this is something that you're going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole point, right? Is to try to overcome our challenges, but also find sports that we can do later on, like forever. That's why I chose the sports I did, because I wanted to learn how to swim properly, and I wanted to advance my skiing, and I've been able to do that. And I think I'm just gonna keep that momentum going and carry on.
Does when you talked about watching the Duke, you talked about your daughter giving the Duke a flag. How good does it make you feel, and how appreciative are you of him as sort of the focal point of the people who made this happen? How grateful are you to the people who made this happen, even the sponsors?
Oh, very grateful. Without the sponsors, this wouldn't have been possible, and they all did such a wonderful job at contributing to the success. Prince Harry and Meghan are genuine people, so kind. We got to meet with them after a True Patriot Love breakfast that they put on for us, and they're fantastic. What Prince Harry has done on the Invictus Games movement is phenomenal. He's changed so many people's lives. He says, like, it's not him that's done it, it's us, but he got us there. Without him showing us the way, it wouldn't be possible. And I am super grateful for the experience. And I know all the other competitors are as well. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, it helps when people of notoriety get something, right? And
Right.
it's great that a person who has that kind of attention directed his way, turning it into something like this, something that you really enjoyed. And it is a very, from my perspective, I've done every kind of sport you can imagine. I spent over 3 decades doing local sports, even some professional sports, young teenagers, adults, seniors. I've done everything. This is one that I haven't done as far as looking at it from my sports kind of perspective. And I got to tell you, it's very hard, and I don't know how hard it is for you, to separate the humanity of what this is from the sports part of it.
Yeah,
you know
you can't. It goes hand in hand, and that's why it's so unique and special. Is we're competing, but we're really, we're not. Like, we are, but it doesn't matter. We're all celebrated, and maybe you're competing against yourself or who you were yesterday, kind of thing. But it is It is super good. Like, it's just phenomenal. Like, the experience, it's nothing like anything I've ever competed in before. We're all celebrating each other. We're all cheering everybody on. We're at the start line and we're cheering each other on, being supportive to one another. It definitely a game changer.
Yeah, and the perspective, I'm sure, changes because when you're preparing to do something like this, it might enter your mind who you're competing against. How good am I going to do against these other people?
100%.
But once the bell goes and once the game starts, there's only one person you're trying to beat. It is what you think you can do, and that must be a beautiful feeling.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Now you're looking back. You're flying back to. I assume you went to the Toronto airport.
Yeah.
What were the feelings you had taking off and coming back here?
It was very cool. Like, we were treated like royalty again at the airlines. You know, they had a speech before we got to board before everybody else, and they had a little speech saying, you know, we have Invictus Game athletes on board and let's celebrate. And, you know, everyone's clapping, and it really made it like real. Like, this is happening, and it was very cool. And when we landed in Vancouver, it was crazy. There was a huge welcome party. There was an Indigenous group there drumming. It was beautiful. Air Canada is handing out snacks and water to us and congratulating us all. There's clapping, there's cheering every time anyone new comes through around the corner. It was so intense and so crazy that it would just, we didn't realize what we were in for until that happened. And then we really clued into, like, okay, this is going to be a big deal. Like, this is.
How many days was this whole adventure?
11 days. Minus like travel days.
So around 2 weeks of your life. When you were on your way home and you landed and you enter your home, you come into your home. I'm sure you were looking forward to sleeping in your own bed. We all look forward to that when we go somewhere. But when you close that door behind you, and how much of the games still did you feel, and what did you feel at that moment?
Yeah, I was excited. Like, I just super humbled and grateful that I got to experience that. Like, disbelief that happened. You know, it really hadn't sunk in. I think I was very overstimulated throughout the whole game. So when I came home, I was like, okay, now I need to like process this and like really process it. And it was a lot. It was mixed feelings. And they did warn us that when you come home, you might feel a dip in that, because we were operating at a high level, right? Of emotions, and then all of a sudden it's over. Now what? You know, your body has to get used to that. And it wasn't bad. It was just like exhaustion, like mentally.
It's an experience.
Yeah, it really is. They told us, I was like, yeah. You know, in my head, I'm thinking that's not going to happen, but it did. And it shook me. And I was also sick, but once I overcame that, it was like a sense of pride and accomplishment and just motivated. I can't say it enough. Like, I'm so motivated and excited to see where I take this.
So I guess there's a big thank you.
100%.
You said it to the Duke and his wife, the Duke and Duchess.
Absolutely.
And a big thank you to Soldier On. I've heard you thank them.
Yes.
Is there anybody else that you feel should? And we talked about sponsors and the event itself, the event staff, and all that. Is there any other group that you feel you need to thank that maybe I'm forgetting to lead you into thank?
Like True Patriot Love and ATCO and Boeing and all the other sponsors, Canadian Tire, the volunteers, everybody that had anything to do with Invictus and setting it up and running all the events. Everybody needs to be thanked. And
so you're telling me you appreciate everything they did. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It takes a lot of work to do what they did. Like, I've never been to an event that big before. Like the scale is, you know, through 2 different venues, full time, like every day, the meals, the, you know, everything. Like there's a lot that goes on that we don't see, but definitely appreciate all the hard work. And
I followed closely because of you, because I had the
yeah,
experience to talk to you. And I
yeah,
thought of you almost every time I was watching, because I'm asking myself, I'm saying, I actually know somebody who's going through this, and
yeah.
I understand. It was, for me, the experience of watching you, and I'm sure the same is true for many. We were proud, normally we're proud of our athletes that wear the Canadian flag.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more importantly, I felt, I'm trying to struggle with the word. I felt sheepish in being surprised about some of the feelings I had watching what you were doing, listening to others like you, watching interviews, talking to people. And
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing I was that I understood before and was guaranteed a lock, and that is the participation was what it was all about. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's amazing how the more I watched it, the more winning became less important. I know that might sound crazy to some people,
No,
but
no.
that's one thing this event does that
Mm-hmm.
other ones like it don't do, because we concentrate on how many medals did Canada get, right?
100%. Yeah.
I was so overwhelmed by the emotion of all the athletes when they were interviewed, the chances I got to see them.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say thank you for doing that interview. And I want to say thank you to you for being here, obviously, today. Are there any parting messages that you'd like to give to anybody who's contemplating doing something like this,
Yeah.
especially people who feel that they can't?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So definitely sign up. You know, that's step one. It doesn't mean you'll be picked. And if you don't get picked the first time, sign up again the next games. The Warrior Games are very similar. It's in the States. And you're competing against the Army, Navy, Air Force, Special Forces groups. But Canada gets lumped into there. I think they get into the Marines. I'm not sure where they compete, but that's also very similar to the Invictus Games. So if you don't get into Invictus Games, try the Warrior Games. It's all through Soldier On. You do not need to be sports inclined. So with Invictus Games and the Warrior Games, of course, you're going to pick something you're going to improve. But if you're not sports inclined, that's not the be all end all. You will do your best. It's not about competing. I know it's a competition, but it's not competing with other people. You're competing against yourself. And we have all kinds of athletic abilities in our Invictus Games. Some people that had never done sports before in their life, right? Or not a team sport, or, you know, it doesn't matter. You're going to overcome it. It doesn't matter. It's going to be challenging and you're going to be better for it. And you'll get to experience that support. And that is more important than, you know, maybe the competition itself. Is that support, and the friends you're going to make is way more important than anything else. So if you're not sports inclined, doesn't matter, still sign up, do it. There's archery, there's all kinds of different summer sports that you can do that maybe not necessarily you think of as a sport. But
Yeah, like every road, the road to recovery has lots of twists and turns, and recovery isn't about a timeline. You can take an off ramp and enter back in again whenever you feel okay to do that. There's no pressure. That I know that from what I've witnessed and from talking to you, the importance of events like this are opportunities. There's no need to force yourself into not that you can't have goals, but it's not about success. It's about trying. I can't impress that enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all your own individual journey. It's no one else's. So just go for it. And I didn't realize what I was missing, until you've put into this situation. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I waited so long. I pushed all the help away and didn't believe there was help out there, but there is, and there's lots of it. And you just need to put your hand up and go for it.
And get over the doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right?
There is hope. There is,
yeah,
100%.
Because the other side's awesome when you get to the other side.
Exactly. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing this whole adventure. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you went through. And I'm grateful to all the people who helped make this happen. Yeah. And I'll remind people what you said before about the Warrior Games. Look out for the Warrior Games. Those ones are a little longer in history. They've been going on a little longer. And I think what it sounds like is just the name itself. They sound a little more competitive.
Yeah, it's the state, so it is. But again, for Team Canada, it's your own journey, right? We're not like that. So.
Absolutely. Thank you to you, and I want to personally thank the Invictus Games and the Duke and Duchess for putting themselves behind this to help people like you have a real positive experience. I don't think we could say it enough. So thank you for doing this and sharing it with us, your adventure. And I really appreciate you and all the other athletes who represented Canada and the rest of the world. Thanks for doing this interview, and thanks for keeping us up to date on what's going on. We'll have to touch base again to see if you end up in the Warrior Games.
You never know.
The personal Melissa Henderson challenge.
Yeah,
Corporal
that's right.
Melissa Henderson.
You never know.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you,
so
Frank. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. All right. She's Melissa Henderson. I'm candid Frank Stanishi. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you watching, folks. Hopefully we'll see this happen again, and we'll find some other ways to discuss this kind of opportunity that we as people who have challenges have roads to recovery. It's important for everyone. It isn't just about being a veteran. It's about being a human being and meeting all the challenges that you need to overcome. And good luck to everyone who's doing that. Thanks again, Melissa.
Thank you.
You discovered things about yourself you never knew, skills and abilities you didn't know that you had. You unlocked your potential and performance, and you understood the power of working as a team.
I woke up one day and decided to change my life.
Here, we don't have disabilities.
The spirit of Invictus is those who overcome and achieve things that they never thought that they would be able to.
Invictus means being together.
Це як символ Invictus, непереможний.
Without the Invictus journey, I haven't been here today.
People need to realize that they're not alone, that there is help that is available.
While the Games continue to be the incredible beating heart of our movement, our work is year-round.
It doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop when the competition stops. This is lifelong. It goes round the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.